summertime, and that means summer sales at TJ's Flooring. Done better and priced better, sale or no sale, the pros at TJ's get the job done right the first time. Their professional expertise and skill help bring your vision to light. Those old floors do need a revamp, and maybe you just don't know exactly what you want. But Tom at TJ's can help. Let him guide you through the process and pick out the flooring right for you. Are you driving right now? If you are, drive yourself right on over to TJ's, because as we speak, you could be picking out brand new hardwood, laminate, luxury vinyl plank, or carpet. You could be scheduling that install for next week. You could be watching the team at TJ's completing installation right now. And you could already be another satisfied TJ's Flooring customer. So what are you waiting for? Give them a call today. 360-670-5188, or stop on by TJ's Flooring, East Highway 101 and Monroe Road in Port Angeles.
Action-packed excitement is back again with the 2023 Steel American Sprint Boat Racing Series. Two-day racing at the Extreme Sports Park happens Saturday, July 29th and Sunday the 30th. One of our main sponsors, Lower Elwha Food and Fuel, will once again be hosting this year's show and shine on Friday, July 28th from 4 till 6:30, open to the public. We've had so much success with so many generous sponsors that we're now able to host two-day race events. Visit our website, extremesportspark.net, for tickets and more details.
Join the Parks and Recreation Department for an exciting and fun-filled day as we celebrate the 2023 Port Angeles Day of Play. This year's event will take place on July 22nd and will have recreational activities for families and children of all ages. The Day of Play recognizes the importance of recreation in our lives and highlights the many opportunities we have in our area. For more information, please visit www.cityofpa.us/Day of Play. We hope to see you there.
Weather forecast calls for partly sunny skies the rest of the day today. Maybe a slight chance of showers developing again later this afternoon. Highs in the mid-60s to around 70 today. Clearing up by tonight. Lows overnight mid-40s to lower 50s. Then Tuesday, partly sunny skies in the morning, becoming more sunny through the day. Mid-60s to low 70s for your highs. And a clear Tuesday night with lows in the low to mid-50s. And we're right back to just old summer again with Wednesday sunny skies. Highs in the mid-70s. Clear Wednesday night, lows in the mid to upper 50s. Sunny again Thursday, mid to upper 70s for your highs. Clear Thursday night, lows will be in the mid-50s. Friday, sunny again, highs in the mid-70s. Clear Friday night, lows in the mid-50s. Sunny for Saturday, the Lavender Festival looking spectacular. Look for your highs in the low to mid-70s. Partly cloudy Saturday night, lows in the 50s, lower 50s. And then sunshine again for this Sunday with a high near 70. Currently, we have some sun peeking out, kind of a mixed bag across the North Olympic Peninsula. We've had a few scattered rain showers. Right now it's 64 down at the east end in Port Townsend. Out west at Forks, now at 69. Squim now checking in at 62. On the waterfront in downtown Port Angeles, it's 61. And out at the airport, it is now 64 degrees. We'll get a last check of Wall Street and some business news before the markets close for the day. That's coming up next.
How are you programmed? With 5 new programs, Peninsula College has something for you. Train for a career in natural resources, or automotive technology, or prepare to become a media technician or virtual assistant. Already have a degree? Check out our new specialized management certificates. Find out how you're programmed at pencol.edu/new. Take the quiz for a chance to win a free tablet. That's pencol.edu/new.
Cam for Bath Fitter.
Bath Fitter prides itself on a one-day bath remodel. One thing that's very important at Bath Fitter is paying attention to the detail. At Bath Fitter, we manufacture our own product. We make it, we measure it, and we install it, and we offer you a lifetime warranty. We believe in building value and trust with our customer to provide choices and a solution for something that they may like and be happy with forever.
Now get $750 off and pay nothing for 18 months. BathFitterNW.com.
Olympic Peninsula Title, the name you've known for your full title and escrow services, offers contract collection. Let Olympic Peninsula Title process, collect, and disperse funds with your private party loan. Find out more about this service and how it can work for you. OliPenTitle.com. Olympic Peninsula Title. Title, escrow, contract collection. Olympic Peninsula Title.
Here's a look at what's happening. The Master Gardener Foundation of Clallam County looking for home gardens in the greater Port Angeles area for next year's Petals and Pathways Home Garden Tour. If you or someone you know has a beautiful home garden for the major fundraiser of the foundation every year, call the Clallam County Cooperative Extension Office and nominate them. Northern Lubbock Library System offers Intentional Aging, a monthly discussion group for anyone who wants to live well while aging. Meetings are held on Zoom, 11 a.m. on the third Tuesday of every month. The monthly bag of book sale held by the Port Angeles Friends of the Library is back on its regular 3-day schedule this month. And the sale will be this Thursday and Friday and Saturday. Store hours 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Thursday and Friday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Saturday. New books are added daily during the sale at the PA Library. Rain Shadow Artisans, a local nonprofit, hosting a show Friday at the Dungeness River Nature Center from 10 until 3. Painters, potters, soap makers, glass, mosaic, and woodworkers, sea glass and stone curators, jewelers, fiber artists, and food creators, all showcasing their work. 9 to 5, the musical is opening up July 21st, 7:30 p.m. This is put on by Ghostlight Productions at Squim High School in the auditorium. The Squim Elks Lodge hosting a car show on July 22nd. 9 o'clock registration with a donation for an entry fee. There'll be burgers, hot dogs, a beer garden, and music by the Silhouettes there as part of the car show and membership drive there on July 22nd. Clallam County Master Gardeners will have a grafting workshop. This is going to be at the Woodcock Demonstration Garden this Saturday from 10 until 11 o'clock. This is free and open to the public. And don't forget, the Day of Play brings a lot of free family fun to Port Angeles. It's happening July 22nd. Go to the City of Port Angeles' website for a complete look at all of the activities. And that's a look at what's happening.
For a fast, convenient solution to short-term financial situations, come to Easy Pawn or Easy Pawn East. We provide collateral loans on tools, gold, silver, jewelry, musical instruments, guns, electronics, and much more. Our business is confidential, so only you will know about your pawn. Whether you need $10,000 or $10,000, come see us in a friendly, comfortable atmosphere for a loan with simple, affordable payback and rewrite options. Our community's trusted pawnbroker since 1982. Easy Pawn at 113B West 1st Street or Easy Pawn East at 2416 Highway 101 in Port Angeles.
Mariner Baseball this evening, 5:30 airtime here on KONP. The M's on KONP brought to you by Leeds Farm Supply and Equipment Sales in Squim. 10 minutes in front of 1 o'clock now.
Newsradio KONP Business.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Despite China's economy slowing down, some Wall Streeters are betting Beijing will try to juice the economy there, and that could influence our Federal Reserve to start thinking about ending its interest rate hikes. And with just minutes to go ahead of the closing bell, stocks are higher. The Dow, 0.33% higher. The S&P up 0.5%. The tech-heavy NASDAQ, 1% higher. More Americans now getting turned down for mortgages, credit cards, and auto loans. A Federal Reserve survey shows the 1-2 punch of stubbornly high interest rates and banks and other lenders being a lot more cautious means more applicants are getting rejected for new loans, nearly 22% over the last 12 months. That's the most in 5 years. The FDA today approving a new drug made by AstraZeneca to protect babies and toddlers from RSV. And with Hollywood writers and now actors on strike, Paramount Global CBS network getting desperate. It's planning on airing Yellowstone and other shows from its cable properties this coming fall. Tom Busby, Bloomberg Radio.
Let's get a check on the traffic next.
The premium compact powerhouse is here. The new MT225S from LS Tractor. 25 horsepower, 2-pedal hydrostatic transmission, and a highly featured operator platform. Now available with dealer-installed cab. All backed by the legendary LS Tractor warranty. Demo the new MT225S at your local dealer today.
Find the perfect LS Tractor for you at Leeds Farm Supply in Squim. Locally owned and operated. Call Leeds at 360-452-1400.
LS Tractor, simply more.
Are you looking to discover a career that will help you grow? Look no further than Olympic Medical Center. Hi, I'm Samantha Jacobson. I started as a medical office assistant, and today I'm the Associate Director of Olympic Medical Physicians. OMC empowers employees to explore opportunities and encourages growth. Because of this, my career has soared at OMC, and yours can too. Grow your career at olympicmedical.org/discover.
Newsradio KONP traffic and roads.
All right, up to Clallam Transit Dispatch Center we go. That's where Steve's standing by with the last look at our traffic this noon hour for us. Good afternoon, Steve.
Hi there. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Overall, we're doing pretty good out there. It's definitely busy if you're out around town, driving around. A lot of traffic out there right now, and it is moving along, although a little bit slow in some places, but overall we're doing pretty well. Lots of construction going on around town. Probably the biggest one you want to pay attention to is on Marine Drive, just before you get to the truck route there off 2nd and Marine. They're digging up the roadway for the sewer work that's going on down there. Single lane traffic alternating through there. Your best bet is to avoid it altogether. Unless you absolutely positively have to be down there, probably a good idea to make your way around 8th Street or Lordson Boulevard to get through there. Too many cars down there, it's going to start backing up all the way through the downtown area, and we don't want that. Want to keep everybody moving through and the workers safe down there, so be careful. Ray Street also closed just south of Lordson Boulevard. That's one to watch for. They do have a detour en route for that. Also, they're doing paving work that is going to be going on for quite a few weeks. I Street, right now they are north of 8th Street, down there around 5th, 6th, 7th, doing their work, but they're going to go all the way up to 16th, so be aware of that. Other than that, we're really doing pretty good. The Hood Canal Bridge is good to go. No scheduled openings. Ferries are in good shape. The rest of the road's busy out there, but traffic is moving pretty smoothly. So everybody just take care, be safe out there. This is Steve reporting live from Clallam Transit for KONP.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
When the wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Ooh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat? Owl? Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale?
Yeah, whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We've all been there. In the middle of a hectic day, you notice that your smartphone's battery is really low, maybe only 10% left. New research shows us which apps are to blame. I'm Kim Commando, brought to you by SimpliSafe. Save 20% off a new system with interactive monitoring at simplysafekim.com. If your phone is out of battery before the day is over, close the apps that drain the battery. The worst offenders are Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, and Twitter. You see, in the background, these apps are constantly asking for updates. Closely behind is Candy Crush. And yeah, people are still playing that. Then there's Amazon, Uber, Spotify, and Netflix. Close these, and your phone's battery should last all day. And no matter what, never use a public USB charging station, even in places like major airport stadiums that you might think are safe. Too many are being used by the bad guys to spread malware and install monitoring software. Stay up to date the easy way with my free newsletter at getkim.com. The Dell Technologies Black Friday and July event starts now with limited quantity deals on top business PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Plus, get special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit. The Dell Technologies Black Friday and July event starts now with limited quantity deals on top business PCs with Windows 11 Pro. Save on select Vostro laptops with built-in security features and select Latitude laptops with enhanced privacy, collaboration, and connectivity. Plus, get special financing with Dell Business Credit. Dell Technologies recommends Windows 11 Pro for business. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL. Offered to business customers by WebBank, who determines qualifications for and terms of credit.
For what it's worth, I'm Derek Dennis. They are travel horror stories being repeated over and over again.
We lost train tickets. museum tickets that were not refundable. I had to cancel everything.
Robin Fiala's family, just one of many, forced to dump their vacation plans because they couldn't get passports in time. The State Department swamped by hundreds of thousands of applications every week. Travel expert Scott Keys.
If you have imminent international travel within 2 weeks, you can call and make an appointment at an in-person center where they can, for a decently hefty fee, but still be able to get you an emergency passport.
The State Department also staging what are being described as passport fairs across the country to help people like Sharon Richardson.
This is amazing, and I think it's for people like us who working parents, busy schedules, and this is a godsend.
Experts say if you want to travel in the next few years, apply for your passport now. For what it's worth, I'm Derek Dennis, ABC News.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
You've heard the saying, slow and steady wins the race. Well, the same concept can be applied to long-term investing. Hi, I'm Anthony Sanders, your local Edward Jones financial advisor. Investing a little bit at a time on a regular basis can really add up. We call this systematic investing. And though it doesn't guarantee a profit or prevent a loss, it is a way to make market volatility work for you. To learn more, call me at 360-452-0550. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
If you ask me where to go for a great meal, great brew or cocktail, fun atmosphere, and consistent service with a smile, I'll always give you the same answer, and so will everyone else. Next Door Gastropub. Enjoy indoor or outdoor dining, a very unique menu, and unbelievably reliable quality food and service. Get the gang together and make it a date today. The pub is open Tuesday through Sunday, 11 till 10, Fridays and Saturdays, 11 till 11. Next Door Gastropub, where friends eat, drink, and gather.
The North Peninsula's news. The North Peninsula's talk. Newsradio KONP, Port Angeles, Squim.
I'm Daria Albinger. Tens of millions of Americans, California to Florida, under excessive heat warnings or advisories today. ABC senior meteorologist Rob Marciano.
Several major cities still facing temperatures well above 100 degrees. Phoenix, Las Vegas, and El Paso, where overnight 4 people were taken to the hospital with heat-related symptoms. The scorching heat shattering new records daily. Country music artist Jason Aldean seen stopping mid-performance and running off stage during his concert in Connecticut after suffering what his representative confirmed as heat stroke. The star now doing much better.
The Northeast cleaning up after a weekend of torrential rain and flooding. A state of emergency declared in New Jersey. Eva Smith's home in Belvedere may be a total loss.
I was in shock for 2 days, and now all I want to do is cry. Because everything, we worked so hard and we don't have a lot of money. And we don't have flood insurance. So it's been very, very hard.
In Bucks County, Pennsylvania, 5 people are dead and 2 are missing following the torrential rain. The FDA okays a shot to protect babies and toddlers from the respiratory virus RSV.
The drug is called Beyfortus, made by AstraZeneca, and it's supposed to protect babies and toddlers up to 2 years old from contracting RSV, which causes acute respiratory infections. U.S. officials approved the drug based on 3 studies showing it reduced the risk of RSV infection between 70 and 75%. Beyfortus is already approved in Canada, Europe, and the UK. Ike Ajachi, ABC News, Washington.
Today in Manhattan,
We got the power.
members of SAG-AFTRA walking the picket line outside Netflix's office. At the close, the Dow was up 76 points. You're listening to ABC News.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Police on Long Island, New York say Rex Heuermann, the suspect in the Gilgo Beach killings, had over 200 guns in his home. That's more than double the number for which he had permits. It was one of the new details of the investigation.
Authorities say cell phone records narrowed the area where the suspect could be. Detectives then looked to see who in that area owned a distinctive vehicle allegedly tied to one of the murders, a Chevrolet Avalanche, reducing the pool of possible suspects from thousands to dozens. More cell phone records allegedly tied Heuermann's burner phones and the victim's phones to locations near his office in Midtown Manhattan and Heuermann's home in Massapequa Park.
ABC's Aaron Katursky. A 15-year-old superstar swimmer takes on New York's 20 Bridges Challenge.
Maya Marriage, a rising junior in high school, completing a 28.5-mile swim all the way around the island of Manhattan.
I really like the challenge of it. I got to see all of the Manhattan skyline from the water at night.
Finishing the swim in 8 hours and 43 minutes with her parents cheering her on. It was all part of Swim Across America to raise money for cancer research.
ABC's Lara Spencer. A new bar in Dubai is offering gourmet water infused with minerals to suit your mood. The Aqua Bar adds different blends to tap water and sells it for about 50 cents a pint. This is ABC News.
Solving mysteries is hard. Streaming them isn't. We need to know what happened.
There's someone else pulling the strings here.
This month, get in touch with your inner detective and stream the best selection of British mysteries during Mystery Month on BritBox.
That is interesting.
Watch entire series of fan favourites, including the newest seasons of Luther, Silent Witness, Father Brown, Vera, and more.
My lips are sealed.
No one does mystery like the Brits. Start streaming now with a free trial at BritBox.com.
Daria Albinger, ABC News.
We've teamed up with Coastal to give away some amazing prizes, including a free Ford F-150 truck. Yeah, you heard that right. In honor of Coastal Farm and Ranch's 60th anniversary, you can enter to win a 2023 Ford F-150 4x4 Super Crew truck. They're also giving away a 2023 Honda Rancher ATV. And also a trip for two to the 2023 Wrangler National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, including airfare, hotel, and tickets. And every week, they're giving away $100 gift cards from Coastal. Here's how you get into it. You enter to win by going to their website at coastalcountry.com. You can enter every week for a better chance of being a big winner. Congratulations to Coastal on your 60th anniversary and for allowing our station to be part of this fun giveaway. It's Coastal's 60th anniversary. We want to help you be driving a new Ford F-150 truck this fall. We appreciate you listening to our station and hope you are one of the big winners. Head over to coastalcountry.com.
End-of-life decisions are hard. Be it pre-planning or sudden loss, you need to have an advocate in your corner, which is why I wholeheartedly recommend Drennan and Ford Funeral Home and Crematory in Port Angeles, the only locally owned funeral home and crematory in Clallam County. Their expertise ensures a smooth process so you can focus on healing and being with your loved ones. Their help through the darkest time in my life will forever stay with me. Call 360-457-1210.
If you're buying or selling real estate, what should you expect from a real estate agent? Hello again, this is Jim Hagwood, real estate broker at Port Angeles Realty. As a buyer or seller, you should have an expectation of a professional broker that has knowledge of the market and major trends, has integrity and is determined to achieve your goals, and is available and a good communicator. If you have these expectations, contact me at 360-808-8433 or on Facebook at Jim Hagwood Real Estate Broker.
KONP News brought to you by McCrory Carpet One. Always priced right, always done right. It's McCrory Carpet One. A horrific accident in Tacoma yesterday. Washington State Patrol's major accident investigation team responding to the crash on Highway 509 near Alexander Avenue. A Kia and BMW were involved. 6 people were killed, 3 others critically or seriously injured. A 4-year-old girl from our state died Sunday after choking on food at a Costco store. Benton County Coroner William Leach tells Fox News Digital the girl was believed to have choked on a hot dog based on the report filed by emergency responders. It happened at the Costco in Kennewick.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. High of 65 this afternoon under mainly clear skies, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows level off around 51. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 66. Dry with temperatures a bit above average Wednesday and Thursday and highs in the low 70s. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 65 degrees.
It's the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP. Now, here's Todd.
All right, welcome to the program. Going to spend the hour today talking about the prosecutor's office, but part of what interacts with the office, with that office, and that's the Victim Witness Coordinator Division, and also some things that are related to that and how it all kind of comes together when we get through, especially a felony court proceeding that's going through Mark Nichols' office. He is the elected county prosecutor. Mark, good to have you back. Thanks for coming in.
Always a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Todd.
You've brought your chief criminal deputy with you today. That's Michelle Devlin. Michelle's great to have you back again, too.
Thank you for having me back.
All right. And we're going to spend some time talking about, I think, a part of the office we've chatted about in the past, but I don't think a lot of people realize what this is. So maybe I'll have Mark approach this first, and then we'll go a little deeper of a dive into the Victim Witness Coordinator.
Well, we've certainly talked about crime victim rights in the past, and we do that very deliberately, recognizing that so much of the dialogue and narrative surrounding the criminal justice system, not just statewide, but nationally, focuses on the rights of the accused. As a prosecutor, I feel that quite strongly that one of my duties and obligations is to ensure that that dialogue, that narrative, does not overshadow the fact that crime victims, in fact, have rights as well, and a number of them in Washington State in particular. And so we like to focus on these really at least quarterly in an effort to spotlight the issue, to keep the narrative alive, especially because so much is occurring by way of legislative reform that's impacting this very important area of the law. And so I thought we'd talk a little bit today about the origin of some of the victim rights in Washington State. And for that reason, I brought Michelle as my chief criminal deputy. She is a cottage industry expert and lives and breathes crime victim rights. And then maybe try some Q&A with the listenership just so they can understand the types of questions that we are routinely faced with at the hand of victims. And then wrap up by talking a little bit about some changes that have occurred at the state level that stand to impact victim rights in Clallam County and around the state of Washington as a whole.
All right. That said, Michelle, we'll swing over to you, and let's just talk a bit about this evolution, I guess, of victims' rights, particularly in Washington State.
Well, traditionally, you have, in a criminal case, you have the rights of the accused. So you have the traditional rights that everyone knows about. You have right to a lawyer, right to a jury trial, speedy trial, things of that nature. But a lot of people don't understand that the victims and survivors of crimes also have those rights. And they're actually constitutional rights in the state of Washington. The Washington Constitution, Article 1, Section 35, enumerates those rights. We also have statutory rights for victims and survivors. And I think it's pretty poignant. I would like to read the intent before the statute. This is what the legislature wrote. And that's RCW 769010. And the intent of writing in these criminal victims and survivor rights. So in recognition of the severe and detrimental impact of crime on victims, survivors of victims, and witnesses of crime, and the civic and moral duty of victims, survivors of victims, and witnesses of crimes to fully and voluntarily cooperate with law enforcement and prosecutorial agencies, and further recognition of the continuing importance of such citizen cooperation to state and local law enforcement efforts and the general effectiveness and well-being of the criminal justice system of the state. The legislature declares its intent in this chapter to grant the victims of crime and the survivors of such victims a significant role in the criminal justice system. The legislature further intends to ensure that all victims and witnesses of crime are treated with dignity, respect, courtesy, and sensitivity, and that the rights extended in this chapter to victims, survivors of victims, and witnesses of crime are honored and protected by law enforcement agencies, prosecutors, and judges in a manner no less vigorous than the protections afforded criminal defendants. I think that says
that last line actually does equate this as well. Now, part of it is we get into this due process argument. It's probably why we get so much focused, perhaps, on a defendant's rights.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And oftentimes we have to remind people that the victims and the survivors have these rights. Among these rights, generally to be part of the criminal justice system, but to be advised of what's going on, to know that there's a charging decision being made by our office, for law enforcement to give them information on potential advocacy groups that are out there, to know when the next court date is, to have some input in how the status of the case will go. Those are just the minor rights that they have available. And there are just a ton more, and that's where our victim witness coordinators come in.
And that's what I was going to say. I mean, you've taken this now to another step because years and years ago, there wasn't really, I mean, this was something you as deputy prosecutors essentially, I think, had to kind of shepherd through.
Yes, and when I started back in 2014, I know a lot of it was done by the deputy prosecutors. We did have one victim witness coordinator at that time, and since then, our division has grown to 2. Still not enough, but...
Because let's put that into comparison. How many? What's the caseload in the felony division, for example?
In the caseload in the felony division, we'll say out of 150 cases, and let's say each prosecutor has 40 of those cases, the victim witness coordinator has all of those cases.
Right.
So we have 2. We have one that does the property crimes in our superior court, where that's the felony level. She also does all of the victim cases in district court. And then we have one who does all the violent crimes and et cetera in the felony level.
So I'm going to ask this question because I'm sure people will go, well, you know what? Especially if there's a violent crime where there's an actual human victim, so to speak, it's person on person. Most people would say, well, they already, they're going to be there. They're going to be in the courtroom. They're going to, they're actively part of the case. They're going to be sitting with, on the prosecution side of things, for example. So explain to me why, you need to have a coordinator for those types of cases.
So in just the instance in what you gave, a violent crime. So a victim in 90% of those cases would have to come to court with us because a defendant has a right to face their accusers. So they would have to come to court. They would have to testify. Our victim witness coordinators are fabulous because they serve as like a legal liaison. They explain the process in the criminal justice system. They explain what's going to happen in court. They'll walk them down to court, show them where they're going to sit, show them where their support person can be. They'll set them up with services. They'll be present when they have interviews with the prosecutor. They'll be present when they have interviews with the defense attorney. They set up all the schedules, all the competing schedules, and that's just a little bit of what they do. And they answer all the questions.
And for you as an attorney, that's helpful as well, I would think, right?
Definitely, because rather than making a call after every court hearing to say this is when the next court hearing is, this is what happened in this court hearing, I can actually get prepared for the next court hearing. I can prepare what I'm going to say in court, what evidence needs to be collected, what I need to do. So it's definitely helpful for us.
On the flip side of this, though, is it sometimes difficult to get, you mentioned 90%, they got to be there. Sometimes it's tough to get them to be there, right? And that becomes part of the I guess the effort of this
Yes.
coordinator.
It is sometimes difficult, and we are a very trauma-informed office. So a lot of the victims and our survivors have gone through very traumatic events, and they're just not in a place to be there at that time. So part of the victim witness coordinators is having those candid conversations with prosecutors and the victims and survivors to say whether this is the time, whether there are resources that can help them get through it. And there are some cases we just do not go forward because our victim is not in the right spot.
My next question. So there are times where you may have to try to tap the brakes, as they say, if you can,
yes.
in a case.
Yes, that's always something that we have thought about, we have done. It's always a hard thing, but we have a statute of limitations that we can refile later if we need to. And we try to, our victim witness coordinators in those cases that we do have to dismiss, helps to arrange the services so they're protected even if there isn't a criminal case going on.
Hypothetically, when do you engage this coordinator in, maybe even before official charges are filed in some cases? Would that be safe to say? Because of just what you said. If there's a decision that has to be made, we got to hold off on actually filing a charge because of, timely trial issues.
It can happen two different ways. It can happen on the day a person is arrested. They're engaged with us, and then we engage with the victims and survivors. It happens in pre-charging cases all the time, where we need to call and talk to this survivor, this victim, see how they're feeling, whether they're ready to proceed. So they're just invaluable throughout the process. So although I said they have all the cases, they also have those that are not filed as well.
So the workload really is even beyond what...
it is way beyond that. And I was
just
just making up a number, but yes, they have a lot of cases.
You could probably take 3 or 4 more coordinators if
Definitely,
there's room or
yes.
budget, right?
I would love that. And I'm sure Mr. Nichols will talk about that coming up.
Let's take a break, and then I want to come back and let's talk about kind of the witness part of this, too, because that is another issue that this coordinator, it's the victim witness coordinator, and sometimes that somebody has to plug into someone who will be testifying in a case that Michelle or one of the deputies will be handling at the Clallam County Prosecuting Attorney's Office. We're talking about the Victim Witness Coordinator Division there and how it works with the prosecutor's office. And we'll talk more about that when we come back right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on Newsradio KONP.
If you're an avid DIYer or builder, it's a necessity to have the right tool for the job. Makita and Milwaukee Power Tools have more than 200 right tools for the job, all running on their own battery platforms. That means a battery from your Makita or Milwaukee drill will also fit the battery to your same brand circular saw, leaf blower, grinder, or any of the other 196 tools they make. At Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel's, we stock the largest selection of Makita and Milwaukee power tools in the area, and we'll back it up by matching any non-promotional advertised price. These are not the power tools of 10 or even 5 years ago. The technology has grown to allow for greater power, longer battery life, and greater versatility. If you haven't handled a power tool in a while, we invite you to come on in and try one out for yourself. Make your next project that much easier with a Makita or Milwaukee power tool from Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel's. Angelus Millwork and Hartnagel Building Supply. Building homes, building community since 1906.
Building a future, sharing a dream. Working together, we're on the same team.
Are you tired of paying high interest rates on your consumer loans? Look no further than Straight View Credit Union. We're proud to offer the best consumer loan rates in Clallam County, so you can borrow what you need without breaking the bank. Whether you're looking to purchase a new car, make home improvements, or consolidate debt, we've got you covered. Our friendly and knowledgeable staff will guide you through the loan process and help you find a payment plan that works for your budget. Plus, as a member-owned cooperative, we prioritize your financial well-being over profits. Join us today and experience the Straight View Credit Union difference. Visit us online at svcu.com or in person to apply for your consumer loan today. Insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
Olympic National Park has partnered with the Port Angeles Fine Arts Center, Washington's National Park Fund, and Discover Your Northwest to bring you Terminus, a glacier memorial project. This breathtaking exhibition includes artwork from 40 artists, including poems, paintings, quilts, music, and more, to memorialize one of 40 glaciers in Olympic National Park. This exhibit will be on display at the Port Angeles Fine Arts Center from July 7th to September 3rd. To learn more, visit pafac.org.
Hi, this is Clallam PUD. Did you know we have a program where you can help those less fortunate pay their electric bills? It's called our Neighborly Assistance Program. You can make a one-time or recurring contribution to a fund that assists qualified low-income residential customers. Find out more or print the enrollment card by visiting clallampud.net and entering Neighborly Assistance into the search bar. Your community thanks you for your generosity.
Hey, talking about the Victim Witness Coordinator Division, we have a couple of guests from the Prosecuting Attorney's Office here to talk about that with us. Michelle Devlin is the Chief Criminal Deputy Prosecuting Attorney there and works closely on most of her cases and with this division as well. And we were just, as we went to the break, I wanted to talk kind of about the witness part of this too, and especially as you have more intricate or complicated felony cases, then, I mean, it's not just your coordinator has to deal with the actual victim.
No.
In many cases.
That's correct. For witnesses, we have had cases where we've had 90 witnesses and 3 of those were survivors. So the rest of them are witnesses. So that could be law enforcement, that could be lay witnesses, that can be physicians, it can be any number of people, any number of persons. And the victim witness coordinator sets up all the meetings with the attorneys, not only the meetings with the DPAs, but also with the defense counsel. They arrange the schedule for the trial. They make sure they're there on time. They make sure that they get whatever reimbursement they get from the court to come on time. They're making sure that they do flight arrangements for those that are brought in from out of state. All things of that nature. They coordinate them all.
Very interesting. Now I want to go back to that statement that you read in the intent statement in the RCW. I think that's all good and well, but I'm not sure if that perhaps it's realized by the legislature the amount of work it does take to take that. I mean, when you're, let's just face it, a defendant's rights are, there's a lot of things. They've got witnesses and things like that as well, but it's a different dynamic than a victim's right.
It definitely is a different dynamic, and we're dealing with some things in the legislature right now with regards to funding, et cetera, for victims' rights. And Mr. Nichols will talk more about that, but you're exactly right. I don't think that it's not common knowledge that victims and survivors have a lot of rights out there.
I didn't know that until I actually got into more conversations with Mark about it over the past number of years. That I felt we had rights, but I think, and then unfortunately, there's probably a perception from folks who still feel like they don't have rights because of the way things happen to turn out in a case.
There is oftentimes our office are the bearer of bad news. If we're unable to prosecute a case, we're going to be setting up a meeting with that victim witness coordinator and the victim or survivor to give that bad news. But we still try to do that in a trauma-informed and sincere way to explain why we can't prosecute. There's also frustrations in how long court processes take, the criminal justice system in and of itself. And all of that is stuff that the victim witness coordinator tries to help with.
Take us through a hypothetical, if you will. There's probably times where you're going to be sitting down with a victim to make a decision if there's going to be a charge made. We talked about this earlier, but how much weight do you, at what point do they get to have a decision really into whether or not you're going to move forward with a charge? I guess that's the question.
In my personal experience, let's say if it's a case where I can see that a person is not in the right place, and I think that it will do them more damage to have to go to trial, and there's a potential that they will be in a better place in their life in the future, that I place significant weight on it. But we also look at all the facts, all the police reports. Can we prove this without them? So that's also something that we try to do. And
do you tell the victim that at times? I mean, if it's to a point where Michelle Devlin says, this has to go to trial because, this person violated the law.
Yes.
And we'll do it without you if we have to.
Yeah, oftentimes there's we find in domestic violence cases lot.
That's kind of what I'm alluding to.
Yeah,
yes,
you
right.
have cases where the victims and survivors are not wanting to help at all with the case.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, when stuck in that cycle of violence, there are times when we have to take the case for community safety rather than just on what the witnesses or the victim's rights are at that point.
I think there has to be some legal education that happens in this too, because a lot of us are a victim of a crime. We don't know anything about what the law really is and isn't. We assume that's what happened to me. Tell us about that. I mean, there's probably got to be some explanation as to why a charge is going to be a charge.
Yes, and we do a lot of that. The prosecutors do along with the victim witness coordinators, but they also in their initial call are advising of what the hearings are about. What's the initial appearance? What's going to happen at that? What does an arraignment mean? Why does everyone plead not guilty when they've admitted it? All of these questions you have. How do I get restitution? Are they going to find me? Can I get a protection order? All of these legal questions that are, that's why there are legal liaisons. They can help them, and if they don't know the answers, they come to us and we have those conversations. We also do referrals to victim advocacy groups because our victim witness coordinators are not advocates. The biggest difference is what they tell to the victim witness coordinator is not confidential. But however, if you go to a victim advocacy group such as Mariposa House or Healthy Families, what you tell to them is confidential, and they also help them with things that we couldn't, like housing or phones or things of that nature.
What a tough job. And you mentioned this too, and maybe that's a reason why it's hard to fill these positions. Even I would think even if you had all of the budget in the world for it, it takes a special kind of person to do this.
Definitely takes a special kind of person because they're going through secondary trauma and vicarious trauma every day for every case. They have to be very good at their own self-care. They have to be very resilient. They have to know where to draw the line on boundaries. And it is a very difficult job. And we always worry that we're going to burn them out, but they're wonderful. Both Jillian Munger and Kayla Ayers are amazing.
We're going to take a break. I'll come back and want to ask one more question about, the sentencing part of things and how that fits in with the victim witness coordinator, because it's still part of the trial. You have to get through all of it. And it may be the one time that we're most familiar with victims' rights because that tends to make the TV for some reason, the reading of statements and such. And then we'll talk about some changes at the state level that are having an effect on what we're talking about here at not only this prosecutor's office, but also others across the state. We talk a little bit more with Michelle Devlin. She's the Chief Criminal Deputy Prosecuting Attorney for the Clallam County Prosecutors, and her boss, Mark Nichols, is here as well, the prosecutor, and we'll talk a bit more with both of them right after this.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg salutes our military veterans, active duty, and first responders each and every day. This isn't a special or a one-time deal. 365 days a year, Red Carpet offers 10% off all services to this special group. Please let them know who you are so they can honor you. And for Purple Heart recipients, you'll receive a free wash anytime, every day. Please accept our appreciation for your service and sacrifice. Red Carpet Car Wash, open Monday through Sunday, 8 till 5.
Hello, this is Amanda Huff with Swim Valley and Harper Ridgeview Funeral Chapels. I'd like to take a moment to tell you about a new, exciting, and environmentally friendly development in the funeral industry. It's called natural organic reduction, or simply terramation. Perhaps you've heard of it. Terramation is a process in which the body, after death, is returned to the earth in a carbon-neutral, eco-friendly manner. The process takes place in a controlled environment, and all that remains is a natural, odorless, compost-like material. If you'd like more information about terramation and advanced planning, call us today at Harper Ridgeview in Port Angeles or Swim Valley Chapel in Swim, and one of our knowledgeable and caring funeral professionals will assist you in answering your questions. Harper Ridgeview and Swim Valley Funeral Chapels, because your loved ones deserve the best.
July is the first full month of summer. Don't you just love the longer days and warmer weather? This is Dale from Wilder Auto, and if you've been thinking about a new truck to pull your trailer or tow your boat, we have some great choices for you. Choose from the Tundra, Tacoma, Titan, Frontier, Ram, or the Honda Ridgeline. With tons of new and used vehicles to choose from in the Wilder Vantage, why would you go anywhere else? Stop by or check us out 24/7 at wilderauto.com.
Did you know Jim's Pharmacy also provides close to a full line of DME equipment, supplies, and services? From wheelchairs, ramps, walkers, lift chairs, hospital beds and oxygen, to ostomy, wound care, and incontinence supplies, and much more. We also have staff certified in CPAP and BiPAP fittings, post-mastectomy bras and prosthesis fittings, and equipment repair. Jim's Pharmacy, open 7 days a week behind the Port Angeles Post Office.
For the Washington State News Network, I'm Michael McDonald. Washington State motorists continue to pay more at the pump than anyone else in the country. AAA says our gas prices fell slightly over the weekend, but still highest in the U.S. The price for a gallon of regular unleaded inched downward to just under $5. Nationwide prices at the pump were unchanged at about $3.57 a gallon. Costs remain lowest in Mississippi. The gas there, $3.01 a gallon. 6 people have died after a two-car crash in Tacoma. It happened Sunday, State Route 509, leaving 3 others injured. Authorities say there were 7 people in one car that had capacity for 5. That car would not have had enough seatbelts for 7. It's believed that a T-bone-style collision caused one of the cars to flip over and catch fire. An investigation into the cause is ongoing. A 17-year-old girl injured, this after being run over by a tractor during Battlegrounds Harvest Days parade on Saturday. The girl reportedly riding on the tractor when she fell off and was run over. A police officer nearby called medics and started giving the girl first aid. She was conscious, talking when she was taken to the hospital with injuries. In sports, the Mariners avoided a sweep at their home series, Seattle blanking Detroit 2-0. Mariners off today, hosting Minnesota tomorrow. And Seahawks having players report to training camp next week. Both rookies and veterans report on July 25th. For details on these stories and others, download the WSNN mobile app or visit WashingtonStateNews.net.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I taught for 20 years, until I started forgetting my lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. Getting his early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard, but it gave us time to take control of the situation, together.
I can't imagine going through this without him.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Here's your News Radio KONP forecast. High of 65 this afternoon under mainly clear skies, northwesterly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. Mainly clear skies and quiet again tonight. Lows level off around 51. A blend of clouds and sun tomorrow. Daytime highs approaching 66. Dry with temperatures a bit above average Wednesday and Thursday, and highs in the low 70s. I'm weatherology meteorologist Paul Trombley. Currently, it's 65 degrees.
We're talking about victims' rights and the Victim Witness Coordinator Division, which is through the Clallam County Prosecuting Attorney's Office here locally. And I'm going to talk one more little bit with Michelle Devlin, who's the Chief Criminal Deputy Prosecutor, about those things we tend to say. I jokingly said, I think that the thing we get with victims' rights mostly is what you see on TV. On the big cases, they show the family gets to make statements.
That's right.
And that may be, I mean, as I hope we've learned, there's a lot more to it than just that, because that just seems like only the cusp of things.
Yes. So in addition to everything we've already talked about, there's a right to a victim impact statement. And that is for district court cases that are involved misdemeanors, gross misdemeanors, all the way through felonies. And these victim impact statements are the victims and survivors' opportunity to educate the court on the impact the crime has had on their lives, how it's changed them, or even if they want to talk about the specific facts and how specific things things, change them for the future, what they're still going through, anything of that nature. And the victim impact statements, the victim witness coordinators cannot help them write them, but they can give them a general, like, this is what you want to talk about. The victim witness coordinators often have to read them out loud because the victim or survivor does not want to stand up in court to do that. They'll provide the written ones for the court. There's a lot of stuff that goes behind the scenes with regards to those impact statements before they happen.
And I know, having talked with you in the past, they're important. From your perspective, you've got someone who's been found guilty. Sentencing can be swayed by these.
Yeah, I think they're really important, because the judge only has what is before them, and it really is mostly just a probable cause statement. If this is a plea, if there's a trial, then they've seen and heard most everything. But it is the opportunity to also tell the defendant how their actions impacted the victims and survivors. So not only educating the bench, but also the defendant.
You alluded to this, though. There's some counseling that happens in this, because I know there's a lot of victims that don't want to get out. They feel certain ways, but they're just not confident in expressing it.
That is right, and it's their rights to decide not to say anything. It is their right to write 3 sentences and ask somebody to read it. It is their right to write we've had several page-long victim impact statements, and sometimes victims or survivors feel more comfortable having someone else say it on their behalf, or someone else make a statement. Sometimes you'll have a family member that is picked who makes a statement for the entire family. It just depends on the dynamic and what the crime is.
Right. Well, as we've kind of learned through most of this, that it's a pretty important position in fostering cases through the prosecutor's office. It's taken a tremendous load out of what used to be the prosecutor having to do a lot of this work.
It is, and I would not be able to do my jobs without the victim witness coordinators at this point.
Which leads us back to Mark to talk a bit about. It doesn't bode really well for it. I guess getting more positions like this in an office like yours from the state level. I know that we've talked about funding. Legislature doesn't seem to be real keen on perhaps giving more money towards this kind of a division.
Well, they have and they haven't been at the same time. And I think that it's helpful from a contextual perspective to think back a few years to how this function was traditionally funded in government. And so the victim witness function is one that used to be funded through a victim penalty assessment, otherwise known as a VPA, is what we call it within the system. And when a person, for example, was sentenced for a felony crime, the court would be mandated to impose a $500 victim penalty assessment, and to a lesser sum with gross misdemeanors and misdemeanors. That money, it used to be a case that 33 cents on the dollar of that victim penalty assessment that was imposed and subsequently paid by an offender would go into a fund that would be used to support the victim witness function. Probably 4 or 5 years ago, the state legislature was persuaded as to the importance of this function, and so they actually effected a change to state law such that 100% of victim penalty assessments that were ordered and paid would go into a designated fund that could only be used to support victim rights within the criminal justice system, specifically, and in our county, in the prosecutor's office. And so that's been the model under which we've operated for the last several years. At the same time, of course, we've experienced this thing called a global pandemic, which certainly worked hardship on the criminal justice system, and all manner of things that had been happening stopped all at once for reasons I think everybody's aware of. And things have not fully returned to normal or pre-pandemic status. And so in addition to the immediate impacts that occurred as a result of the pandemic to the criminal justice system, we had fewer hearings in person. There was a concerted effort to not bring people together for public safety reasons. We also saw a reduction in payment activity at the hand of defendants who had been found guilty or pled guilty and ordered to pay various legal financial obligations. And so the victim witness account in Clallam County, it's not insolvent, but it certainly is not as healthy and robust as it has traditionally been. This is something that's been occurring across the state, and so there's been a pretty vibrant discussion that's occurred between folks like the Washington Association of Prosecuting Attorneys, various law enforcement representatives, and the legislature about this issue of how best to stabilize funding for crime victim services, which is such an important set of services within the system. And so most recently, through this past legislative session, there was a substitute House Bill 1169, which was ultimately passed by the legislature, signed by the governor, and it had the effect of adding a subsection to state law that now prohibits courts from imposing the victim penalty assessment on indigent defendants. The statute also requires trial courts to waive any victim penalty assessment that was imposed prior to the effective date of the amendment, which was July 1st of this year, if the offender is indigent on the offender's motion. And so things have now changed yet again. We're in a position where if a person is deemed indigent by a trial court judge based on some criteria contained in state law, then they will not be imposing the victim penalty assessment on the one hand. Only for folks who are not deemed indigent will the VPA be imposed moving forward. And then secondarily, there is a retroactive application of this insofar as past defendants can file a motion asking that their victim penalty assessment be waived because they're now indigent. And so I think as a result of this, we're going to see two types of funding moving forward. We're going to receive whatever victim penalty assessments are paid by non-indigent adult offenders because they've completely waived the victim penalty assessment for juvenile offenders. That's another important piece that I failed to mention. And then we'll receive a second portion of funding from a state account that the legislature did set up. The challenge with the state account is that the discussion between the Washington Association of Prosecuting Attorneys and the state legislature in relation to this account was one that really focused on trying to create a stable, predictable funding source for victim rights across the state, specifically through the 39 Washington County prosecutors' offices. The initial discussion was to the tune of having about $4 million per year placed into that state account and then doled out on a pro rata basis to each county based on a formula that exists in state law. Ultimately, the legislature did establish the account, and we're very grateful for that. However, they have funded $4 million for the biennium versus per year. The net result being that we're going to receive about half of what we had planned on receiving. And based on the number of folks who are deemed indigent and assigned counsel in courts in Clallam County and across the state, I don't expect that we're going to see very much revenue coming in the form of...
the indigent, and this goes back to the debate on LFOs in general from over the past number of years. Most cases are indigent. I mean, they're going to come back as being indigent, however you use the formula in the state.
Yes, and so that creates a challenge for Clallam County among the 39 Washington counties. We have a few things going for us, however. And so number one, in this House bill, it requires AOC to conduct a study and publish results by, I think, 2025, with the goal being that prosecutors' offices are supposed to be funded at more or less the same level that they have been for the last several years. And if it turns out that we're being unjustly enriched somehow, we're receiving more funding than we traditionally had, that will signal a problem to the legislature. If it turns out that we're receiving less money, which is what I think the study is going to reveal, I expect the legislature will take some action to probably increase the amount of money that they're putting into that state fund, probably more in concert with the original discussion. In the meantime, we've been very, very fortunate to have a board of commissioners who's taken the time and the initiative to learn more about victim rights, to learn more about our victim witness division, and our commissioners get it. They understand that this is a very, very important function. For your average ordinary person who's not been victimized by a crime, they don't have any reason to think about this stuff. But unfortunately, there are a number of folks in our county who have been victimized, and they speak up, they speak often, and they speak loudly about their experiences. And our commissioners have been willing to take some portion of general fund monies over the last few years and direct some into the fund to stabilize our local funding, which has been really fantastic. And so back to your earlier remark, yes, we could certainly use more of these positions. At the same time, the commissioners don't have unlimited funding available. And what they've been willing to do thus far is to take some general fund taxpayer monies and direct a small portion of them towards this to stabilize our local account, which has been really invaluable.
That's not sustainable. There'll come a point where you're going to have a county commission that will say, we can't keep doing this. I'm not saying that's tomorrow, but at some point it could.
That's very much a possibility. And so from our perspective, that's one of the reasons that we like to keep the spotlight on this topic, is because I think for ordinary folk, when you think about the rights of the accused, people think, well, gee, I know from the radio or television that I have the right to remain silent. But there's a whole bunch more that goes into the rights of the accused. And similarly, on balance, when we think about crime victims, to your remark and to Michelle's, I think that what people see on television is a victim making a statement to the court.
And that's it.
That's it. But
Right.
There's a whole lot more that goes into this. And it's very important that when citizens' lives are impacted by crime, particularly violent crime, that they have these positions to help them get through the process, because this can become all-consuming. It can truly be a life-changing event, usually for the worse, unfortunately. And when Michelle talks about being trauma-informed, what we're trying to do is limit the damage and the harm to the extent possible. And these positions make that possible in a way that historically I don't believe had occurred through the office. We have uniformity in how we provide these services now. We've got two people who are cut from the right cloth to do it, not only in relation to how they work with others, but in relation to how they take care of themselves on the job. And if you can imagine a job that has you delving into some of the most unpleasant, really tragic subject matter you can imagine on a daily basis, day in, day out, Monday through Friday, it's a very, very emotionally taxing assignment. And so we're really fortunate to have the folks that we do in our VWC positions. And the same can be said for our support staff. I always make sure that I don't leave them out, but they're exposed to all of this as well. And it does have a wearing effect. So that's why we try to be as trauma-informed with civilians who come to the doorsteps of the office, as well as to folks who work within it.
Just go back, and a lot of this too has to be, at some point you would think the state's would get it, that in especially Superior Court, that's actually a state court. You're representing the state. They should ought to be. I never can figure out why they just refuse to fund a prosecutor office, or at least that division, fully. Because you're actually representing the cases. They're in Clallam County. They all say state of Washington. That's and this kind of plays into this as well, doesn't it, Mark?
It does. This is there's been an ongoing discussion regarding the notion of there being a series of unfunded mandates that exist in connection with prosecutors' offices' obligations to make sure that they're honoring these constitutional and statutory victim rights, but not necessarily with financial support from the state to do it, in relation to proceedings that we're advancing on behalf of the state. And so you can see where the unfunded mandate argument can come from. Ultimately, it's important that leaders within the criminal justice system, I think from the judiciary, within the executive branch as well, the legislative branch, figure out a way to fund it, because this is not your garden variety service, and it's something that becomes incredibly important, again, for folks who are victimized by crime.
All right, not to get too far off this, but because this is going to happen before we chat again, probably, Mark, I want to get your thoughts about come August 13th with the change in drug possession.
Sure.
How's that going to affect your office, do you think? August 14th, imagine, what are you going to all of a sudden have a whole... Now, granted, these are going to be misdemeanor cases, gross misdemeanor cases, so that means your district court folks are going to possibly be a little busier again.
Yes, that may well be the case. And so just because we have a few minutes here, and for the benefit of the listenership, folks will recall that we've talked about the fact that Washington has traveled quite a ways in relation to its approach to the topic of drug possession. It used to be the case that if you possessed drugs in Washington from 1971 up until about 2021 or so, it was a felony offense. And with that felony conviction came a number of pretty important consequences: loss of firearm rights, the potential for jail or prison time, loss of voting rights, just to name a few. Then we had our state Supreme Court issue its decision in State versus Blake, which in essence invalidated the simple drug possession statute that had been on the books since 1971. That resulted in a series of felony convictions under the old statute being vacated, and come full circle to now, and what we anticipate happening in mid-August. Our current state legislature went ahead and adopted some legislation that recriminalizes drug possession at a gross misdemeanor level. And we expect, starting mid-August, that within the world of local law enforcement, we're going to start seeing enforcement of that new statute. It will be really on a agency-by-agency basis as a matter of policy regarding how they're going to do that and under what circumstances. But there is now a pathway to prosecution. And you're right, Todd, because it's not a felony offense. It's going to be directed into our district court division. And so we will expect some degree of work increase in the District Court 1 and District Court 2 arenas, District Court 1 being Central County, District Court 2 being West County. And we are in the process of outreaching to talk with various folks within the criminal justice system, police chiefs, sheriffs, judges, regarding what we anticipate will happen so that everybody can engage in a little bit of advanced planning. There's what's within our control at the local level, and then there's still a few things that are outside of it, including the fact that we'll need to have the drugs tested through the state lab, which is running behind. And so we're still going to have that challenge of needing to time our filing decisions in a way that's going to allow us to advance cases within a defendant's speedy trial, right? And so that may involve some purposeful delay at the outset following the referral to buy time for the drug test result to come back as a precondition to filing, so we get our ducks in a row and keep things moving along efficiently. Michelle, do you have anything that you wanted to add about drug possession? I know you've been outreaching to folks in relation to the topic, and it's a bit of an evolving one, at least.
It definitely is that. August 14th, we'll see how things are. I've been doing some of that outreach, and I'm still reaching out to people. And I think you got it all. Yeah.
I was just curious to see how this all works, because it still has the flavor of the law is still to try to promote treatment before charging too. It's just that this is an option. So, Mark, as you pointed out, depending on how an agency is going to decide to take this on,
right.
It may or may not mean we're going to bring people in on misdemeanors.
Yes, and we're going to, as usual and consistent with our office's pattern of practice, keep trying to direct cases that are being driven by underlying substance use disorder in the direction of drug court. I am a very strong believer in that program yielding better results than the traditional criminal justice system, especially for recreational level users who might deal with a close personal friend but not for commercial profit, for example. We'll also direct some cases probably the direction of our mental health court, because there's going to be some bandwidth or cross-section of defendants who are going to not just be afflicted with substance use disorder, that is, have a drug addiction, but they're also going to have an underlying mental health disorder. Stated somewhat differently, they're going to be suffering from a co-occurring disorder, and we're going to need to not just focus on drug court, but hopefully mental health court as well. I think both of those programs will do better in the long run in addressing some of this criminal behavior than simply throwing the book at folks and putting them through the district court process over and over and over again.
All right. We'll just tab that, because we're going to come back and talk about it, I'm sure, in the next couple.
Undoubtedly.
But I just had to get your take on it before it actually arrived. Mark, great to have you here. Mark Nichols, thanks for coming in, as always.
Always a pleasure to be here.
And thanks for bringing Michelle Devlin in as well. Thanks, Michelle. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We're going to take a break. News is coming up next.
This is the Todd Ortloff Show on News Radio KONP.
Red Carpet Car Wash in Carlsberg salutes our military veterans, active duty, and first responders each and every day. This isn't a special or a one-time deal. 365 days a year, Red Carpet offers 10% off all services to this special group. Please let them know who you are so they can honor you. And for Purple Heart recipients, you'll receive a free wash anytime, every day. Please accept our appreciation for your service and sacrifice. Red Carpet Car Wash, open Monday through Sunday, 8 till 5. When purchasing a home or land, nobody wants to inherit existing debts or legal issues that could interfere with their property rights in the future. That's why it's important to work with local title insurance professionals and protect your rights with owner's title insurance. Olympic Peninsula Title has been protecting the property rights of Clallam County customers for 35 years. Put our team of professionals to work for you. For title insurance, contract collections, and escrow services, opt for Olympic Peninsula Title.
Cam for Bathfitter.
Bathfitter prides itself on a one-day bath remodel. One thing that's very important at Bathfitter is paying attention to the detail. At Bathfitter, we manufacture our own product. We make it, we measure it, and we install it, and we offer you a lifetime warranty. We believe in building value and trust with our customer to provide choices and a solution for something that they may like and be happy with forever.
Now get $750 off and pay nothing for 18 months. BathfitterNW.com.
Hey everyone, it's Leslie Robertson from the Chamber of Commerce, and who wants to go roller skating? That's right, the Olympic Skate Village is open now until August 14th. We're open daily from noon to 10 p.m. with 3 skate sessions a day. For special events, themed skate nights, local celebrity DJ appearances, and a whole lot of other fun, visit our website, OlympicSkateVillage.com. You can also visit the website to sign up to volunteer at the rink. And for every shift you work, you get a free skate ticket. Remember, we cannot do this amazing community event without you. So once again, for special events, to volunteer, and all the other information, visit OlympicSkateVillage.com. And don't forget to sign your waiver in advance online as well. Olympic Skate Village, open now until August 14th.
I understand that as our world becomes more automated, receiving personalized service from a real person is more meaningful than ever. I'm Dan Shappy, and as a farmer's agent, I know a thing or two about how to help you select the insurance you want so you can
protect what matters most.
Call 360-681-0696 to learn more and chat with me, a real person and experienced farmer's agent, today.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
Experience the delightful scents of the season with Airport Garden Center. Step into our oasis and immerse yourself in the fragrant beauty of roses. Our wide variety of roses cater to every nose and maintenance preference. And the best part, they're currently on sale. Whether you prefer fragrant, miniature, climbing, or tree roses, we have them all. Hurry in to take advantage of our ongoing rose sale where all in-stock roses are now 20% off while supplies last. Indulge in the serenity of our garden and consider adding a stunning addition to your own. Plus, with our highly knowledgeable staff along with complimentary advice, your garden will thrive for years to come. We extend a heartfelt thank you to our incredible customers for nominating Airport Garden Center as the best in Clallam County in various categories, including garden store, farm supply store, animal supply store, customer service, landscaping, and unique gift store. We are immensely grateful to our community for their support. Visit us on Edgewood Drive in Port Angeles.
We are the boy band. Your tween made you see. We are the boy band. It's Painful Concert number 3. We are the boy band. We're 5 and 19. We are the boy band. Always singing on key.
You love your kids enough to take them to see their favorite band. Love them enough to make sure they're buckled up in the back seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety
From ABC News,
I'm Lindsay Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. There's extreme weather across the country. 5 people were killed following torrential rain and flooding in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. The search continues there for 2 young children who vanished as their family tried to escape the flooding. Upper Makefield Fire Chief Tim Brewer says crews are racing to find the children before more rain arrives.
We have basically tripled the number of assets in the area, mostly because of the weather conditions.
It's dangerous heat for millions in the West, including Arizona and Florida, which have already broken several records this summer. ABC's chief meteorologist Ginger Z has more.
Phoenix did not drop below 90 again, 8th day in a row. That's something they've not done in the time they've kept records. So they'll go for another day at above 110 too, and by tomorrow we'll be talking about high temperature records. Texas has been broiling for 6 weeks or so, and then Miami, 36 consecutive days of a heat index of 100 plus. That is a stretch they've not done before.
90 million Americans in 14 states are under excessive heat advisories or warnings. Russia is blaming the U.S. and U.K. in helping Ukraine attack a bridge in Crimea. 2 people were killed. The assault comes as Russia announced it's backing out of a deal that allowed Ukraine to export grains to Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, raising new concerns about global food insecurity. In Washington, Secretary of State Antony Blinken said he hopes the world is watching Russia's actions.
They will see that Russia is responsible for denying food to people who are desperately need it around the world, and to contribute to rising prices at a time when many countries continue to experience very difficult inflation.
The FDA has approved a vaccine-like shot that may protect infants against RSV, a respiratory virus. Beyfortus, made by AstraZeneca, is already approved in Canada, Europe, and the UK. Once the CDC signs off, the shot could be available this fall. You're listening to ABC News.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that's MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save the typical family $500 a month, and that's huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too.